THEATRHYTHM Final Bar Line is a celebration of 35 years of Final Fantasy music. This is the FFTV review. When it comes to audio, first things first, please mute the trigger sound effects. That is when you get audio feedback for every time you hit a correct note. I am so happy that this was an option because it could have ruined my experience with the game entirely. I personally found it to be extremely distracting, like a child wailing on an xylophone while you try to enjoy your favorite music, if you know what I mean. Final Fantasy music is just so beautiful. Of course, if you're a fan, you already knew that, but it's how the game has you acting as sort of a composer of the music that will give you a deeper appreciation for just how good Final Fantasy music is, and always has been. Yes, the original chiptune music is there for the older games, and you will love rediscovering just how great these tracks are, even with the limited capabilities of the hardware that the games released on many years ago. But sadly, there's no option for the recent Pixel Remaster soundtracks, and that's a shame, really. And I'm not sure if this is how many others feel, but I still feel pretty let down even after the game gave me 385 songs. Okay, well, alright, 385 songs. Alright, I'll be okay without the Pixel Remaster tracks. What an insane collection of music. I must reiterate that I love the chiptune old school music, and it adds even more variety to the set list. Final Fantasy music ranges from the chiptune to the techno, to hard rock, to fully orchestrated hard rock techno fusion music. There's even a music player option in case you just want to press play and enjoy it without having to focus on hitting notes. That lets you create up to 3 of your own playlists in addition to the sorting options by series, stage type, and song name. You can also enjoy a movie player as well to watch some of Final Fantasy's best moments. The menu music is whimsical, and it made me feel like I was at a Final Fantasy theme park, and really, the whole game feels exactly like that. It's just pure fun. So let's move on and talk about that. THEATRHYTHM Final Bar Line has become my comfort game, and I challenge myself at what I find to be the most enjoyable difficulty, expert difficulty. That's in between basic and ultimate, and if you want to go even a step higher, there's supreme difficulty. But achieving SSS rank and perfect chains is very satisfying and never too easy or too difficult to master, but bumping the difficulty above that is just a little too much for me right now, although I have cleared a few stages on the ultimate difficulty. And I'm sure I'll be there eventually. I remember when I'd look at expert mode on Guitar Hero and Rock Band and say, yeah, that's impossible. But now I only play those games on expert. Speaking of Rock Band and Guitar Hero, THEATRHYTHM also has that style of note lanes. Instead of each lane being assigned to a specific button input, well, any button on the controller will register the note in THEATRHYTHM. I found myself using the L and R buttons because that felt most natural when double notes occurred. Some notes will have you hold down a button and use the thumbstick to guide the note up and down. This is very simple, as a full thumbstick tilt will work for steep inclines and declines just the same as for the slider ones. The game only cares about you making the directional adjustments. Some notes require a flick of the thumbstick in the indicated direction. Thankfully, these directional flicks do not seem to be judged on precise angles in which you flick, just as long as it's in the general direction required. So it's nice that there's some leniency to it. That brings me to the controller and the pros and cons of each platform that this game is available on: the Nintendo Switch and the Sony PlayStation. I've played the demo on both PlayStation 5 and the Switch and ultimately chose to get the full game on the Switch. The controller is essentially your instrument, but just like with real musical instruments, everyone's preference will differ. To start, it's worth noting that there's no touchscreen option. Kind of a bummer since it works so well on the DS, and both PlayStation and Nintendo Switch can support forms of touch controls. For me, Switch Joy-Cons have my favorite input, as the L and R buttons are very clicky and super responsive. But the offset layout of the thumbsticks takes some getting used to, especially when they're sprinting down the track at breakneck speeds, requiring a flick of both sticks in either the same or opposite directions. And my hand starts to cramp a bit in handheld after long sessions of play due to bending my right thumb to that stick. This is where the PlayStation 5 controller kind of wins. The parallel sticks are much easier for me to nail those critical directional flicks. The L and R buttons are sufficient, but again, not as satisfying as the Joy-Cons. But it's also worth mentioning that some players that I've asked on Twitter use a combination of the face buttons and a shoulder buttons for double notes, and I find myself doing this occasionally too. Now, if you have a Switch Pro controller, the ever so slightly offset thumbsticks actually gave me no issue at all, and the L and R buttons are just as sufficient as the DualSense. The Switch wins out as my favorite platform to play THEATRHYTHM Final Bar Line. When docked, the Switch Pro controller works excellently, and the Switch also offers something the PlayStation 5 cannot: portability. I played in handheld mode during most of my time with this game. And if you still find the thumbstick flicks to be too much regardless of the platform you play on, well, the devs have thought of that too. One of the 3 game modes offered for every song is called Simple Mode, which removes the need for thumbstick flicks so you can concentrate solely on button presses. Now, it may be called Simple Mode, but you can still choose from the 4 difficulty settings, so yeah, Ultimate difficulty on Simple Mode still looks like a barrage of chaos worthy of bragging about when you clear the song. Trust me, Simple Mode is still very difficult on the higher difficulties. The other mode aside from the Standard Mode is called Pair Mode. Pair Mode allows for local, cooperative multiplayer, and it's pretty fun. It's like you're making music together. The gameplay is even adjusted with this in mind, as you and your player 2 often go back and forth between notes and sometimes share notes as you press the button at the same time as each other. What was special to me was that I've been playing this game with my wife to set high scores together, and she hasn't played Final Fantasy before, so all the music is new to her. I get to introduce this amazing music to her, and through playing these songs, she's gaining a deep appreciation for the franchise. For those with kids, I play with my 5-year-old son, and after a few plays, man, he's almost ready to bump the difficulty up from basic. And now he's requesting to play Final Fantasy music in the car. So, win-win situation here. The competitive multiplayer aspect is in the multi-battle game selection. This will have you battle against 3 other players. Matchmaking shows a list of rooms that you can join with the set difficulty, or you can create one yourself. Rooms can have bursts on or off. I personally found the burst to be so much fun, especially if you're playing in a party setting. Some burst effects obstruct your vision, while others could cause you to take increased damage. Having a party lineup with healers could help your HP from falling to 0, but even if it does, it's not game over for you. You just lose points and keep going. And you can keep track of who's in what place on the left side of the screen during the song. At the end, the winner takes first pick of a collector card, second place takes the next one, and so on. This is a fun way to collect them all. Although this is primarily a music rhythm game, I love how it retains the Final Fantasy DNA in its gameplay. In the series quest mode, your assigned party must battle enemies as you focus on nailing the timing of the notes. Each character has a job class and specializes in certain things. This is important for setting up the perfect party to accomplish particular objectives. For example, I was stuck on a mission to defeat one guard scorpion. I had a level 30 party, that was the max level in the demo, but could never defeat the scorpion. Eventually I noticed that the stage's weakness was fire. My party lineup was key to success. I swapped in Vincent, who was not only proficient in fire magic, but also had the All ability, which would hopefully eliminate enemies before the scorpion at a faster rate. And Maria, who had fire as well as Infire, which increased fire damage by the party. I also used my common Final Fantasy knowledge that the guard scorpion would be weak to lightning, and I knew that the summon always came in near the end of the song, so swapping in Ramuh would hopefully be enough to finish off the scorpion. It proved to be the perfect strategy, and I got over that wall. For the visuals, I found my eyes going cross and what I think might have been motion sickness. Never really had that issue before in gaming, but with the notes coming in from left to right and the background scrolling from right to left, it was enough to cause some visual discomfort for me, personally. Now thankfully, there is a fix in case if you're having the same issue. Changing the background opacity to half helped me significantly, and if you wish to eliminate this entirely, well, you can even toggle camera movement to off. The art style is cute and fun, with a stage play setting. You can sort by series, music stage type, song name, difficulty, your cleared rank, DLC, and even popularity based on the total times tracks have been played by everyone you exchange profit cards with in the online multiplayer. It's just really cool to see what songs are being played the most among the fandom. You can also add your own playlist for easy access to your favorite music. Unfortunately, you can only create one playlist. In the series quest game mode, a simple press of a button allows you to see a full map of the series and find stages you've completed or just cleared. This is helpful for those wanting to go back and get full completion status on the stage after leveling characters a bit more. I wish there was an option to navigate the map menu and select the stage from there, but you'll have to back out of the map and progress or backtrack to the song. It's not a big deal, but could have further improved the experience for me. The characters will have random speech bubble quotes pop up, which is a nice touch and sometimes kind of funny, like Cloud saying "ha ha ha black materia" or Barrett saying "why did you want to take me to see fireworks?" It would have been really great if your party combinations interacted with each other through these speech bubbles. Imagine the fun banter or flirting that could have happened, kind of like Dissidia Opera Omnia style. But that's really not important, just a thought I had. Now, Series Quest is in the selection that has you complete select songs from every mainline Final Fantasy, including spin-offs like Crystal Chronicles, Type 0, and even Mystic Quest is here. You make your way through the songs battling familiar enemies that have specific weaknesses and resistances, and even some that have stage effects like increasing the damage you take or increase the speed in which the notes travel across the lanes. Or you might be tasked with specific objectives like defeating a boss in a set time or dealing a certain amount of damage to the enemy, which is where that RPG mindset comes into effect to look out for those weaknesses, and party management with abilities in their stats. In return for completing these quest challenges, you will receive a profit card to show off and exchange in online battles, and equipment and items that can strengthen your party and give you an edge in the battle during these series quests. As you progress through each series, you'll unlock new songs and characters. There's 104 characters to unlock. You'll also gain title keys to unlock new series to play. Reliving these games through iconic boss battles and the major story beats, pun intended, is just really fun. After clearing all the series in the series quest mode, you unlock Endless mode, which allows you to keep going song after song until your party loses 3 lives. The lasting appeal of THEATRHYTHM final bar line seems to be very promising, but first I want to start with something that kind of has me a little disappointed. The deluxe edition comes with 27 bonus tracks separate from the season pass number 1, yet forced bundled in the deluxe edition, meaning you must buy the season pass in order to get the 27 bonus tracks that are separate from the season pass. It seems like Square Enix is willing to bring in music from the biggest brands, and at 2-week intervals from the moment of release day, man, that is pretty awesome, and it definitely improves the lasting appeal of this game. Based on a fantastic interview with Final Fantasy Union, it seems that the developers of THEATRHYTHM don't really know any more than we do about Final Fantasy XVI, and that is why Final Fantasy XVI music was not included in the game. But maybe we could get Final Fantasy XVI music in the latter half of the year. And since Square Enix is going in with their biggest brands, well, it just makes sense that we'll be feeling simple and clean eventually in THEATRHYTHM. I sure hope so. Kingdom Hearts music gotta be at a DLC. Overall, THEATRHYTHM Final Bar Line is a celebration of Final Fantasy and its incredible music. Despite not offering touch controls as is predecessors did, I still thoroughly enjoy playing the game at the difficulty that suits me and striving for those perfect chains and triple S ranks. THEATRHYTHM is comforting when you want it to be, and challenging when you are playing at a higher rank, or for full quest completion. I'd say with 385 songs, you're getting your money's worth. It's debatable though whether or not the deluxe edition that comes with 27 bonus Final Fantasy songs and 30 Season Pass songs is worth the same price as the base game of 385 songs. The math just does not add up there. I highly recommend it to all Final Fantasy fans, and I'm certain you will be absolutely delighted and addicted. I also recommend it for music and rhythm gamers who enjoy games like Guitar Hero or Rock Band. At least give it a try and see if you don't get hooked. You can go download the meaty demo with 30 songs and try it for yourself. You can even carry your progress into the full game if you do buy it. So with the burst abilities, the multiplayer battles are chaotic and I love it. I'm playing the game trying to focus on the notes, and all of a sudden the notes turn into little tiny mini notes. They're so hard to see, they're going across the screen, and then all of a sudden there's big fat chocobos taking up all my lanes. I can't see what's coming next, and then, oh my god.